Her keenly awaited address in Mansion House, London, is being used to set out what the UK wants from its future relationship with Brussels. Mrs May said she wants Britain to have the freedom to strike trade deals around the world, but also agree a Brexit relationship with the EU where they continue to support each other's interests, and she said 5 tests must be met to guide Britain's approach to the negotiations. She stressed the agreement should strengthen our union of nations and our union of people. In a clear allusion to Northern Ireland, it came after her angry rejection on Wednesday of a draft EU proposal for Northern Ireland to remain in the single market and the customs union, unlike the rest of the UK, to avoid the return of hard border with the Republic. Mrs May said it would be unacceptable to go back to a hard border or break up the UK with a border down the Irish Sea. The PM said, "Our departure from the EU causes very particular challenges for Northern Ireland, and for Ireland. We joined the EU together 45 years ago." Theresa May gave a landmark Brexit speech. "It is not surprising that our decision to leave has caused anxiety and a desire for concrete solutions." The Prime Minister rejected the suggestion from some Brexiteers that the UK could unilaterally decide not to impose a hard border. She said, "It is not good enough to say we won't introduce a hard border if the EU forces Ireland to do it. That's down to them. We chose to leave. We have a responsibility to help find a solution." Theresa May called for a new relationship with Brussels, but we can't do it on our own. It is for all of us to work together. The UK has already set out 2 options, she said. A customs partnership or a highly streamlined customs arrangement. For the first option, at the border, the UK would mirror the EU's requirements for imports from the rest of the world, applying the same tariffs and the same rules of origin as the EU for those goods arriving in the UK and intended for the EU. But, importantly, we would put in place a mechanism so that the UK would also be able to apply its own tariffs and trade policy for goods intended for the UK market, she said. AFP. Theresa May arriving in Mansion House under option 2. There would be a range of measures to minimise frictions to trade, together with specific provisions for Northern Ireland. Mrs May said the UK had made clear our concerns about the first draft of the withdrawal agreement published by the European Commission, particularly regarding Ireland. But she insisted no one should be in any doubt about our commitment to the joint report we agreed in December. We are close to agreement on the terms of an implementation period, which was a key element of December's deal, she said. In further demands, she also said the deal must respect the outcome of the referendum vote to take control of our borders, laws and money. Mrs May said the referendum was a result for a wider change but not for a different relationship with our neighbours. The deal should be watertight so it does not have to be negotiated again, and it must protect British jobs and security, she said. It must also be consistent with Britain remaining a modern, open, outward-looking, tolerant, European democracy that stands by its international obligations. She set out a vision of a nation of pioneers, innovators, explorers and creators. Theresa May vowed to keep the UK united. The PM stressed current EU deals with Canada and Norway would not work for the UK, and she was seeking a new relationship. She said, "We need to strike a new balance, but we will not accept the rights of Canada and the obligations of Norway." Mrs May said we must accept the need for binding commitments, saying state aid and competition could remain in step with Brussels, urging Brussels to look beyond previous precedents, and told the audience, "This is a negotiation and neither of us can have exactly what we want, but I'm confident that we can reach agreement." And she denied the UK was cherry-picking what it wanted, pointing out all deals with Brussels were different. During the speech, Mrs May insisted the Brexit deal would mean the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice in the UK must end. It also means that the ultimate arbiter of disputes about our future partnership cannot be the court of either party, she said. Yesterday, European Council President Donald Tusk warned that Mrs May's insistence on taking Britain out of the single market and the customs union meant it could not enjoy frictionless trade with the EU after Brexit. At talks in Downing Street on Thursday, where she briefed him on the address, Mr. Tusk told her, friction is an inevitable side effect of Brexit by nature.